So let's have a look what happens in these markets and what are the vendors we are talking about. I brought to you some studies, not all from 2018, but as well some new stuff. The Association for Information Management, I skipped the intelligent, produced a study early this year and asking users what is the most important factor in your content services decisions. And when you look on the description and the footer, you will find it's always the same. It's business process management, it's document management, it's records management, it's collaboration. Okay, we see different size of an enterprise drives different solutions. Team productivity is very favored in small enterprises. And by the way, it's much more easy to install an enterprise-wide ECM solution in a small enterprise than in a multinational big enterprise. They made a small summary of their results. I think you can read it. Can anybody read this? So I now take my magic wand. I hope you now can read it. We will not cover every of these topics. By the way, for those doing photographs, we will have a video documentation and the slides will be made available to you, even in PowerPoint, that you can reuse them. Great offering, I think. Well, you see in these 10 points different terminologies. They talk about intelligent information management, they talk about ECM, they talk about content services, but the major findings are that ECM really failed because only 30 to 50% after 20 years have a solution. They are still looking for solutions. And they started looking not only for in-house solution, but they hope that cloud is the big experience which covers everything. You can read this at home. Let's look on some studies and quadrants. I mentioned earlier before that Gartner had been the major analyst who has been defining the ECM market for nearly 15 years. And they produced studies and magic quadrants for 15 years about ECM. And in 2017 they stopped and they came up with content services. And their first quadrant was in September, August last year. 2 weeks on, there will be the next quadrant, but it will be boring. You have to read the study, look on the data, and not look on these nice images. I take my magic wand so that you can read it. What you will find in most of these studies is that always the same vendors are depicted. There are 200 or more vendor of ECM solutions around, but everybody always picks the big ones who have some international importance. And if you look in the most favorable quadrant, the leaders, you find companies like IBM. Well, I don't know why they are still there. They are trying to get rid of all this old stuff around ECM, focusing on artificial intelligence. Microsoft is improving. Well, their records management component, by the way, is rather good. And then we have two vendors which are focusing only on ECM, or as they say here, content services platforms. These are OpenText and Highland. Forget about Oracle. If you look on the challenges, you find even a German company, SER, which is now internationally very active. In the quadrant below, you find Fabersoft from Austria. Even more below, you find DocuWare, company starting in Germany, but now mostly active in the US. But the most interesting part is the visionaries. And the good thing with these companies is that they have no old legacy. Old archives they created 20 years ago, which force them not to change too much to keep the information still available. And there we find companies like Box. You probably think Box is a vendor of the synchronization stuff. No, they are going in real ECM applications, M-files and others. So let's have a look on the competitor, the Forrester Wave. The Forrester Wave is from this year, and if you see in the headline, they even changed again their terminology. They are talking now about enterprise content management content platforms. Why do we have 2 times content in this? I'm not content with this. So if we look on their graph, okay, I help you a little bit. If we look on their graph, which must be different from the quadrant of Gartner due to copyright, well, we find nearly the same vendors, only with other criteria and in other ordering. We find as well OpenText, Microsoft, Highland. We find Box. IBM is going more and more to the left. We find M-files. And my question to you, if you're trying to make a decision for an ECM solution, does such a graphic help? But you won't believe it. In really big 500 companies, everybody looks, oh, is he in Gartner? Otherwise, he will not be on our shortlist. So the last of these quadrants shows another perspective. And probably now you're on your own able to see the differences. Nucleus publishes its ECM value matrix since 6 years, and they have quite another representation of the data. They show the direction of development, and now you can ask me, in the Forrester, M-files was below, and now it's up here. What's the reason? It's very easy. Look on the description.